So we got a CNN interview that I want to take a look at with you guys, chat. Let me pull this up real quick. This is an
Here with me now
interview
is U.S. Border
that
Patrol.
was conducted by Dana Bash over at CNN with Gregory Bovino, who's the Border Patrol commander. And this interview is, I've seen clips of this already. It's pretty fucking insane. So we're going to take a look at this. We're going to give our thoughts as we go along. But yeah, this just goes to show she presses him multiple times on a lot of the misinformation that's being shared by Kristi Noem and DHS about what happened to Alex Pretti. And he just won't answer their questions in a straightforward way whatsoever. So we're going to take a look at this. Without further ado, here we go.
Here with me now is U.S. Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Greg Bovino.
This guy, okay. Some people will probably say this is a hyperbolic statement, but we watched a press conference that this guy did yesterday. This guy literally just looks like a fucking Nazi. Like, you could put this guy as part of the cast of like Schindler's List as one of like the Nazi officers, and I would believe it was like legit. Like, he'd blend right in. Like, holy shit.
Thank you for being here. Sir, you are still in Minneapolis.
And he seems really ass mad about the fact that like people are comparing ICE and DHS officers to the Gestapo, but I'm sorry, that's the way you guys are behaving. So maybe, just maybe, if you're not fond of being compared to the Nazi Gestapo, maybe don't behave that way. You know, just a thought. If you don't want to be compared to the Nazi Gestapo, maybe don't behave that way and you won't be. You know what I mean, chat?
And I want to get to a lot of questions that we have that are unanswered. First and foremost is that Alex Pretti approached Border Patrol agents with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun.
False.
I want to go back to one of the videos, and I know you can see it there, and I want to ask you about what you're seeing, because multiple angles of this incident show him holding up a cell phone and recording it.
Remember, their statement was that he approached these officers with a firearm. He brandished a firearm at them. But we can clearly see in these photos, he's got a phone in his hand. He's holding a phone, chat. No firearm to be found. We know he had one on his person. It was holstered, which is fine. Totally legal and fine. Like I said, he had a legally registered firearm, and he had a license to open carry, which is fine. There's nothing criminal about that.
Not a gun. Did he at any point pull out his weapon?
Let's see if we get a like legitimate answer, chat. Let me get a 1 in the chat if you think we're going to get a legitimate answer here.
Dana, good morning, and thanks for having me. The weapon, and we do know that the suspect did bring a weapon, a loaded 9mm high-capacity handgun, to a riot. We do know that. As far as
so did Kyle Rittenhouse, and the right defended him in doing so. Not only did Kyle Rittenhouse bring a loaded firearm to a protest, he was brandishing said firearm, and he was shooting people with it, right? But he's declared as a hero for those actions. Meanwhile, Alex Pretti, who was a legal owner of a firearm, doing everything within his legal right to do so, never brandishing or firing the weapon, and he's being labeled a terrorist. Make it make sense to me, chat.
as what happened in that intervening moment with the video that you just showed, that's going to come to light through the investigation. That's being investigated.
That's going to come to light through the investigation. You're making statements about what this man allegedly did as if they're fact, and now you're like, well, we're going to find out the details of this through our investigation. So is that you, in a roundabout way, kind of admitting that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about? Because that's just as bad as just outright lying, which, let's be honest, we all know what's happening here. You're fucking lying.
And those facts and those questions will be answered soon enough.
Okay, but the Homeland Security Secretary is not waiting for that investigation to take place before saying that Alex Pretti was, quote, brandishing a weapon. Let's go to video 7.
And let's keep in mind, what does brandishing mean? Let's actually look up the definition of brandishing. Define brandishing. Wave or flourish something, especially a weapon, as a threat or in anger or excitement. Did we see, because we watched the video yesterday on stream, did we at any point in time see anything that Alex Pretti did that falls under that description? No, we did not. Yes, he had a firearm on his person. It was holstered. And again, I know I sound like a broken record here, but I really have to emphasize these points. This was a legally registered firearm that he was legally in his right to own. This was an open carry situation, which he was legally in his right to do. At no point did he brandish the weapon or even gesture towards it. And this is the key part, chat. This is the key part that I've mentioned multiple times at this point. When they opened fire on him, they had already removed the firearm from his person. He had been disarmed. We clearly see an agent reach for his waist, grab his firearm, and remove it. And as that agent is walking away with the firearm in his possession, Alex Pretti is now fully disarmed. Never mind the fact that he didn't pose a threat to begin with, but he's now fully disarmed. And they, in a very cowardice fashion, executed him in public view. An unarmed man.
And because, of course, you know this far better than I, the definition of brandishing is waving or flourishing something, especially a weapon, as a threat or in anger and excitement. That's just a still photo of what Alex Pretti appears to be holding.
Where's the weapon? Where's the weapon? Maybe ICE and DHS consider a phone to be a weapon because, you know, a phone in this day and age can be a very threatening thing. You know, it can expose the whole world to the horrible atrocities that you are committing. So maybe that's what they deem to be a weapon, his phone.
Holding, there is nothing that we have seen that showed him, as Secretary Noem said, brandishing a weapon. Have you, sir, seen something different to support what the Secretary said?
Dan, I think what we need to take a look at here is the situation in its totality. What happened leading up to this situation? The suspect decided to inject himself into a law enforcement action. What's not being said here is the fact that Border Patrol agent.
He was exercising his right to publicly assemble. He was a protester. And he's talking about like, oh, well, we've only seen, you know, a small clip. We don't know what led up to it. Keep in mind, the woman in the pink like jacket, when her footage was revealed, there's a pretty lengthy amount of time leading up to the actual shooting. It's not like the original clip we saw where there's like, you know, maybe 10 or 20 seconds of footage before the shooting actually takes place. We actually saw a decent amount of the events that unfolded leading up to the shooting itself. So we're well aware of what happened, and nothing that Alex Pretti did at any point in time is anything that could be even remotely considered like a threatening gesture towards the officers. Nothing.
Agents and law enforcement were conducting a targeted law enforcement effort against a violent, illegal alien that was nearby.
They keep bringing up this person that they were like supposedly doing an operation to like target this specific individual. And I don't know if that's true or not, that they were actually seeking out this particular individual during, you know, this whole ordeal. But that's irrelevant to what happened. That's completely irrelevant to what happened. At the end of the day, your agents were involved in an action that resulted in the death of an innocent civilian. I don't give a fuck what the reason was they were there to begin with. I don't care if it's because they were, you know, responding to protesters. I don't care if it's because they were seeking to detain a specific individual. I don't care if they were having a cookout and like, just like, you know, hanging out with the boys or something like that. The reason for them being there doesn't fucking matter. What matters is what ultimately played out in the public view. An innocent man was murdered. That's what happened, and that's what matters here.
and that suspect injected himself into that law enforcement situation with a weapon. And what happened?
But I can't believe that we live in the United States of America, where one of the things that is like celebrated as a right that we have, chat, a right that we have is the right to bear arms. And we have representatives of our government who are supposed to defend that right, making the argument that simply possessing a firearm is justification to take someone's life. This do you understand how insane that sounds? We have the right to bear arms in this country, and they are justifying taking a man's life for executing his constitutional right to bear arms.
Between when that situation first came about and the shooting, that's going to be investigated, and we're going to get to the facts of that.
Well,
You're talking about getting to the facts of that, but you're already making statements about this man that you don't even know to be true. We know they're not true. Okay, let's just put that out there, plain as day right now. We know the statements that are being put out there are just not true. We've seen the video. We know the truth, okay? You can't lie to us and trick us into thinking what you're saying as the official narrative is the truth when we've already seen it for ourselves, okay? But you're talking about we're going to get to the bottom of this and we're going to find out all this information. You're already making statements in public forums about what the official retelling was, and your response to being pushed on, hey, well, what we're seeing in the video and what you're telling us isn't adding up. Your response is, well, we're going to investigate further and we're going to get to the bottom of this so we can get the answers. Why are you making factual statements in public forums if you supposedly don't know exactly what happened and you're trying to get to the bottom of it? It doesn't make sense. You know, I'm somebody who's been on this planet for 39 years now. Okay, and I've seen plenty of big stories covered in the news where police need to investigate something that's going on. And usually law enforcement, when they're investigating something and they don't have the answers yet, when you get asked a question similar to the questions that Dana Bash is asking here, the response is something along the lines of, we don't have the answers for that yet, but we're investigating and we'll get you the answers as soon as possible. The response isn't to put a statement out there with claims of what you think happened and then, oh, we're going to fact check our own statements later. No, you don't say shit until you know for sure. This is bullshit.
said yesterday that this looks like a situation where the
Yeah, exactly. We investigated ourselves and we found no wrongdoing. It's literally that.
individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. What evidence?
That's so fucked. If I were Alex Pretty's loved ones, I would be hiring a lawyer so quick right now. Like, they are demonizing our loved one in the public square, making him out to be some kind of crazy mass shooter when nothing could be further from the fucking truth. Nothing. How much of a spineless fucking coward do you have to be to murder someone in cold fucking blood, and when people are mourning their loss, turn around and then demonize them and tell lies about them and misrepresent who they are as a person? That is the most spineless garbage thing I have ever heard. Absolutely deplorable behavior.
Do you have that he wanted to massacre law enforcement? Because all the videos that we have, and I do want to, we just have the still shot up now, but I do, control room, want to play one of the other videos. Let's play video number 1 again. It doesn't look anything like he's trying to massacre law enforcement. In fact,
he's trying to protect one of his fellow protesters. He's trying to protect a woman there. They're always going to pull the "we're not the bad guys." That one man in the way is. Yeah, exactly. By the way, actual Owen Whistling, thank you so much for joining the chat. Always good to see a first-time chatter.
he was filming, and then it looked like he was trying to help another individual there who was pushed down by law enforcement. And then they went.
That's what makes this so sad. Like every time I mention this, I get a little bit teary eyed. But like, this fucking guy was using his last breaths to try and help someone. This woman who was just pushed to the ground by DHS agents. His last actions before he died was trying to help someone. Anybody who's come forward and knew this guy personally has talked about how he was always helping people. He was such a kind soul. Like, he dedicated his life to helping people. And his last moments before he breathed his last breath, he used those moments helping someone. I don't know how anybody can look at this situation and be so heartless as to try and demonize someone like that. I don't I don't understand it. I spent 2 hours yelling at a buddy about this whole thing, and I'm sure he only saw the CNN, what CNN has shown and said. Yeah, this whole thing is fucked up. It was fucked up when it happened to Renee Good, and like we something should have been done about it then. But the fact that, what is it, 2.5, 3 weeks later, it's happening again. This is so fucked, man. This country is so fucked.
They went after him.
In
It
fact,
is legitimately, as somebody who has been born in this country and lived my whole life in this country, I am genuinely embarrassed right now to be an American. Genuinely fucking embarrassed to be an American.
I believe that the fantastic training that our law enforcement partners have, the fact that they're
Fantastic training? Chat, we've talked about this when we covered this yesterday. There have been law enforcement agencies that have observed the behavior of ICE and DHS agents and said that nothing we are seeing happen right now is what you would be trained to do by any law enforcement agency whatsoever. Like, how can you say that they're so... Oh my god. They just killed an unarmed man, murdered him in the fucking streets, and you're gonna talk about... Oh my god. Lemuria Mystic Cat, thank you for redeeming the stretch. I gotta use it right now to step away. I can't begin to tell you guys how infuriating this is to watch this all play out. I'm gonna take a minute, chat. I'm gonna be right back because this is bullshit. This is the kind of shit you see about in movies, about the government, engaging in, really fucked up behavior. And like, you see it in movies, you read about it in books and stuff like that, but you're like, nothing like that would ever happen though, right? Like, that would never actually happen. Not here. Not here in America. That would never happen here. And it's fucking happening. It's happening before our very fucking eyes. And there are people, dipshits on social media, who are justifying this, trying to make excuses for this happening in our communities. What the fuck is wrong with you? Give me a few minutes. I'll be right back. All right, chat. I'm back. Let's listen to them feed us some more bullshit.
That they're highly trained prevented any specific shootings of law enforcement. So good job for our law enforcement in taking him down before he was able to do that.
You fucking asshole. Gregory Bovino, you fucking asshole. Oh, it's such a blessing that we were able to murder this guy for engaging in a violent act that we have no fucking idea that he was actually going to engage in. I mean, let's be real. We know it's bullshit. We know he wasn't going to do that. But, like, how do you get on a nationally televised show like State of the Union on CNN and pat yourself on the fucking back for murdering someone? That's what we... Chat, let me replay that again. We have to listen to that again. That is bullshit.
Any specific... In fact, I believe that the fantastic training that our law enforcement partners have, the fact that they're highly trained, prevented any specific shootings of law enforcement. So good job for our law enforcement in taking him down before.
Imagine on a national stage patting yourself on the back for murdering someone for something you lied about them planning to do. You have no way. I mean, it's blatantly obvious to anybody watching this that there was no indication whatsoever that Alex Pretti was going to engage in the acts that they claimed that he was going to engage in. But imagine patting yourself on the fucking back on a publicly, nationally televised show for murdering someone for something you claim that they intended to do when you have no evidence whatsoever that that was their intention. So apparently that make America Pretty Again shirts neat. Wait, what? Apparently that I think you're saying someone needs to make a shirt like that. I don't know. Jesus, I can't get over that. Job well done for murdering this guy. God.
Before he was able to do that. And again, Dana, let's look at why he was there in the first place. Was he simply walking by and just happened to...
He was there to peacefully protest, just like 50,000 other members of the community in Minneapolis was doing.
walk into a law enforcement situation and try to direct traffic and stand in the middle of the road and then assault, delay, and obstruct law enforcement?
He didn't assault them. They assaulted him. There is no... What is there, like 3 different camera angles now that have been released at this point? At least 2. I've seen 2 of them, but I've heard apparently there's another camera angle that's been released as well. Not a single one of them show this man assaulting agents. Not one! You fucking liars! I have never been so angry in my life about something. I've seen a lot of fucked up shit happen in my life, both in my personal life and observing things that have happened publicly, but I have never been so angry in my fucking life about something.
Or was he there for a reason? Did he fall victim to that violent and heated rhetoric by a Mayor Fry, a Governor Waltz?
Fuck you.
Look, Dana,
Fuck
they're trying to portray Border Patrol agents and ICE agents as Gestapo,
See,
Nazi.
I told you about that before. He gets really bent out of shape if you call him a Nazi or you refer to ICE and DHS agents as the Gestapo. You're a fucking Nazi. ICE and DHS agents are the fucking Gestapo. Cope, bitch. You don't get compared to these things if you don't behave like these people. And that's the way that you guys are behaving. Cope about it. You don't like being compared to the Gestapo? Don't act like it.
And many other words, did this individual fall victim, as many others have,
Okay,
to that type of heated rhetoric.
I want to stay focused on this incident right now because what you were saying is that he went there to try to stop this law enforcement operation. All of the video that we have seen shows him documenting it with his cell phone, which is a lawful thing to do.
Yep.
And the only time he seemed to interact with law enforcement is when they went after him when he was trying to help an individual who lost.
There's the other camera angle. That's the one I was referring to. So this person, this car where this incident took place, apparently there was somebody in that vehicle filming as well. And no, it doesn't matter what camera angle comes out, what witness testimony comes out. It all says the same fucking thing. He didn't attack them. He didn't threaten them. He didn't brandish a weapon at them. He didn't even gesture towards his fucking weapon. Everything they have said about this poor man who lost his life has been a fucking lie.
Law enforcement pushed down. So where do you have the evidence to show that he was trying to impede that?
You literally see him. They are, chat, let me run this video back real quick. Look at this. Look at this. You see up close through the windshield of the car. They are attacking him. And he's like ignoring their attacks against him to protect this woman that they pushed to the ground. Even as they're spraying him in the face with mace and grabbing him and kind of jostling him all over the place, his main focus is the woman they just pushed to the ground and keeping her safe. Look at this. Look at the video. Look at the video.
To show that he was trying to impede.
They're spraying him with mace. They're grabbing him. They're assaulting him. And even with all this going on around him, his main focus is keeping that woman safe.
Look
at him.
That law enforcement operation.
Everything they are saying about this man is a fucking lie.
Sure, Dan, at first he was there in the scene. He was in the scene actively impeding and assaulting law enforcement to the point.
Bullshit. Fucking bullshit, you lying sack of shit.
It's not illegal. He wasn't Dana, impeding it. He was filming it, which is a legal thing to do in the United States of America.
Dana, let's don't freeze frame it.
There's another video angle. We have another video angle. You see that, chat? You see that right there? There's the agent removing his firearm. He is unarmed. And keep in mind, the first shot is fired after he's already been disarmed. Like cowards, they shot an unarmed man.
Adjudicate this now. He was there for a reason, and that reason was to impede law enforcement.
Oh, let's not adjudicate this right now. I'm very clearly lying to your fucking face, but let's not adjudicate this right now. Fuck you, dude.
What evidence do you have of that?
And here's a good point, Dana, is the fact that de-escalation techniques were utilized during this action.
What de-escalation tactics? A man approached a woman who had been pushed to the ground to offer her aid, and he was attacked by your agents, sprayed with mace, tackled to the ground, disarmed, and murdered. Where was the de-escalation in that? Where was the Obviously, the one where they push them into his stomach and then shoot 7 times and shoot, oh my God, into his back, yeah.
Those de-escalation techniques, whether it was physically trying to remove them from that law enforcement scene, that active law enforcement scene in which law enforcement were going after a violent illegal alien.
It doesn't matter why they were there. Even if what you're saying is true, that they were pursuing this violent individual, the reason you guys were there doesn't matter. What matters is what happened. And what happened is you, like cowards, murdered an innocent man. An unarmed innocent man.
Or the use of pepper spray, which is another de-escalation technique. Those techniques did not work. Officers always...
What needed to be de-escalated? Can somebody in chat explain to me what needed to be de-escalated? A man approached a woman who has just been pushed to the ground to provide her aid. What in that situation needed to be de-escalated in the first place? Huh? Somebody offers to lend someone a helping hand and that needs to be de-escalated somehow? Why? Why? Where was the escalation in that?
Always try to use the minimum amount of force necessary to either...
The minimum amount of force necessary? You guys use you are going to make the statement that you guys use the minimum amount of force necessary, and all we've seen during all the video of this incident that has come out is the maximum amount of force being used. You guys resorted to opening fire on this man, shooting him. His body was motionless, and you were still firing rounds into him. Does this guy think before he speaks? Does he think about anything he says before the words leave his mouth? Because he's making himself sound fucking insane.
Either an effect an arrest, which in this case was more than likely 18 U.S.C. 111, assault on a federal officer, or
Where did he assault? Where did he assault a federal officer in any of the video that you have seen? Because it looked to us from every angle, sir, that he was approached by them when he was helping another individual who was pushed down. What evidence do you have that he was assaulting?
None. They have none. They have none.
Dana, we don't need a suspect's help in an active law enforcement scene.
When you say suspect, what is he?
You don't need it. Huh? What? He wasn't helping you. He was helping the woman who your agents assaulted. Huh?
He didn't ask his help. That's an active law enforcement scene. He knew that was an active law enforcement scene, especially when the officers approached him, and it's very evident he didn't.
Wait. So now you're saying the officers approached him. The initial statement by you, the official DHS social media account, and Kristi Noem was that he approached them, brandishing a firearm. Now we're being told by you that the officers approached him? Which one is it? Did he approach them, or did they approach... What?
He did not need to be where he was.
He can't even keep his story straight.
And he when somebody... on his own to stay there.
So when somebody is pushed down and...
Did you see that smug... Hold on a second, chat. Did you see that fucking smug look on his face? He thought he did something there.
So when somebody...
on his own to stay there.
You see that smug look on his face? That little fucker right there? He thinks he did something right there. He thinks he accomplished something right there. All you did was make yourself look like a massive fucking dick, bro.
Somebody is pushed down and a person's instinct is to help that person. When somebody's pushed down by law enforcement, you're saying that you just stand back and let law enforcement do what they're doing? I mean, is that really human nature?
You know, Dana, every situation is different. What our officers are faced with here in Minneapolis are chaotic, very difficult and violent situations in which individuals, and this suspect is not the only one to bring a loaded weapon.
It's so disgusting that they refer to him as a suspect. The only suspects I see here are the thugs that you employ and that murdered this man in the fucking streets like a dog.
To a riot. The situations...
And it wasn't a riot. It wasn't a riot. They keep referring to peaceful protests as riots, and it's just not true.
They're chaotic and ever-changing. Follow directions for law enforcement. Don't inject yourself knowingly beforehand into a law enforcement situation.
With respect, it feels as though in some ways you're blaming the victim here.
I mean, because they are. That's exactly what... You know what this reminds me of? There was that crazy clip of a Florida law enforcement official who was like going on this... Let me see. Florida police. Let me see if I could find this clip. I don't know if I'll be able to find this, but I'm hoping I can find this. Because this was the most insane thing that I've ever seen in my life. And I'm just like, this guy is just openly admitting this on national television. And he thinks he looked good in this. It's fucking crazy. Look at this. This reminds me of this. It's just like, just let law enforcement do horrible things and just deal with it. But look at this shit. This is like an old clip from like, it's 7 months ago, but look at this shit.
The Florida Attorney General has announced new protections for immigration agents. And today, the sheriff in Brevard County had an ominous warning to people who plan to participate in ICE protests this weekend. CBS News affiliate WKMG is covering this.
I think this is all about.
Peaceful protests are part of our democracy. We invite people to share their opinions. That's what our country is all about. If you let it turn violent, whoo, you do not want to do that in Brevard County. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead.
Like, okay, I understand the whole, like, sentiment of, like, don't violently protest. Like, I get that. But, like, that just doesn't seem very professional to be like, oh, yeah, if you attack us, like, we're going to, like, murder you and we're going to notify your family where to find your remains. I don't know. That just doesn't sound like a very professional statement to me from a law enforcement official. The whole statement's even worse. That was just, like, a summary of it. But, like, that is insane to me. Like, am I wrong to think that that isn't something that a law enforcement official should be saying? Like, am I off base? I don't know.
The victims are the Border Patrol agents. I'm not blaming the Border Patrol agents. The victim are the Border Patrol agents. The suspect put himself in that situation.
The victim are the Border Patrol agents. Not the guy who got killed. He's not the victim. The Border Patrol agents are. What is this world coming to? What is wrong with people?
The victims are the Border Patrol agents there.
I want to go back to the gun, sir, because I think this is really, really critical. You can see an agent, and I just want to go to, let's see here, video 5. You can see a screenshot of an agent in a green jacket approach Pretti, and then he appeared to take a gun away. When the agent took the gun away, which it seems as though it was Pretti's gun, that happened before Pretti was shot.
Mm-hmm.
Why was
like literally like as soon as he started to turn away with the gun, that's when you hear the first shot.
An unarmed man shot multiple times by law enforcement, by your Border Patrol agents?
Dana, you don't know he was unarmed. I don't know he was unarmed.
Except we do. There's even a clip. God, I wish I could find this clip. This is the one thing that sucks about like Twitter is so much information is flying through the feed so quickly that like you miss things. And I should have saved this, but like there's a clip out there of like the agents panicking after the shooting. Where's the gun? Where's the gun? Where's the gun? They're looking for the gun. And it's just like, wow, you guys fucked this up real bad, didn't you? You guys fucked this up real fucking bad, didn't you?
That's freeze frame adjudication of a crime scene via a photo. That's why we have investigators. That's why we have an investigation that is going to answer those questions. How many shots were fired? Who fired shots? Where was the guns? Where were the guns located? All those questions.
You can see it plain as day. Okay, let me point. I'm pointing with my finger, but like the guy's reaching for his holster. He takes his weapon out of the holster and then he leaves with it. And immediately afterwards, I think it's this guy that fires the first shot.
Questions are going
Sir,
to be...
There it is. This is the guy who fires the first shot at him.
I think you can see the screen.
In the investigation.
He takes off with the gun, and as soon as he starts to flee, the first shot's fired.
We're not going to adjudicate that here on TV.
Why not? Why not? We have video evidence of you fucking lying, and you don't want to Why did you even come on here? Why did you even agree to this interview if you're like, oh, well, we're clearly lying to you, but, like, we're not gonna, like, discuss this. Like, fuck you.
In one freeze frame there.
Okay, it's not a freeze frame. We're
10 out of 10 finger pointing. I knew exactly what you were drawing our attention to. Yeah, I know. I just think it's funny because, like, I should be using my mouse to show you guys what I'm talking about instead of, like, look at that, look at, oh my God. By the way, Darkness Files, welcome to the chat. Always good to see a first-time chatter.
We're showing a video of one of your agents taking the gun away, and that happened before Pretti was shot.
There it is. He got it. He walks away with it.
Any gun away that could have been the...
We do know that. It's on video. We saw it. In the other camera angle, you see it's the gun in his hand. And if you look closely at the gun that they posted onto social media, and you look at the gun that we see in the video, it appears to be the same gun. Happy to be here. Sad about the subject we're discussing. Yeah, it's... So I was somebody who, like, I kind of, like, dabbled in, like, covering political topics on my stream for, like, a while, and it was something that I enjoyed covering for a bit. But after a while, I just kind of stopped covering it, and I was like, I kind of just want to, play video games and do something a bit more, like, um, calm, and I don't know. I basically didn't want to dabble in this anymore, but, like, when I woke up to this and this, like, happened, I was just like, no, I don't have a very big platform, but I got a lot of shit I want to fucking say, and I'm gonna say it. I may not have the biggest platform in the world, and my voice may not go very far, but I am furious about what is happening in this country, and I had to say something about it because it's just like, fuck, this is fucked up. This is beyond fucked up.
In the agents, because we don't know that. The facts are going.
We do know that. Does he not? Is he fooling himself? Does he think we haven't seen the videos? We haven't seen, he thinks we haven't seen the video. The video, even if you went into this interview not seeing the videos are on the fucking screen. It's on the fucking screen. We can see it while you're lying to our face. We see your stupid, puny little face in the corner lying to us, and we see the truth on the fucking screen.
Going to come to light.
So you're disputing...
He thinks if he says enough that maybe somebody will believe it, even though it's literally video evidence proving him wrong. Yeah.
The video, that that's what happened.
With an investigation.
It's that whole, like, oh, if you tell a lie enough, it becomes the truth sort of thing. Like, yeah, that's what he thinks is going to happen. But I'm sorry, like, these videos, and keep in mind, I say this video, but these videos tell a very different fucking story than what you're saying. That's perfectly fair. Everyone needs a break, especially for much that came before this. And yeah, you may not have the loudest voice, but you're not alone. Yeah, exactly. That's why, like, I was having this conversation with my sister who was in chat earlier. Apparently, like, my mom's a progressive person, but she just doesn't feel like we can really do anything. It's like, no, we actually absolutely can. Maybe us as a single lone individual can't do something, but when a lot of people's voices speak simultaneously, that enough is enough, and we don't want to deal with this shit anymore, we don't want to stand for this anymore, those voices get heard. One voice by itself may not be heard very much, but a bunch of voices together creates a lot of fucking noise, and there is a lot of fucking noise right now.
That's why we investigate.
It's fucked when people, because obviously I'm a leftist, all right? I'm a leftist, progressive, and I've been that most of my life, okay? So obviously I look at a situation like this and I'm like, this is wrong. This needs to stop. But shit's fucked when people on the opposite side of the political aisle are starting to look at this and saying, no, this is wrong and this needs to stop. People are opening their eyes and they're starting to see what is happening. And yeah, there's dipshits out there who are trying to justify it. There's always going to be dipshits who try to make excuses for this kind of shit. But there are people on both sides of the political aisle now looking at this and saying, this is wrong and this needs to stop now.
Well, with respect, you say that's why we investigate, but you're also drawing other conclusions that sort of fly in the face of waiting for an investigation. I just want to also go back to what I was asking about with regard to what Secretary Noem said.
I love how they're highlighting the removal of the gun, because he's like, we don't know that they were removing a gun. And it's like, yeah, we do. It's right there. We saw it.
That he was brandishing a gun. At any point, do you have any evidence that, yes, he had a gun on his person? Was he brandishing it? Was he a threat because he had a gun in his hand?
If I remember correctly, because I haven't watched this whole thing, I'm experiencing it for my first time with you guys, but I have seen some clips of this. And there's like multiple instances of him being asked by Dana Bash that question, and he just won't answer it straightforward. It's just this roundabout bullshit of like, ultimately it circles around to, we'll uncover that during our investigation. But you guys already said it. When you did your press conference, you said he brandished the weapon. When DHS publicly posted it on social media. They said he brandished the weapon. When Kristi Noem gave her press conference and talked about it, she said he brandished the weapon. So if you're waiting for those details to emerge as part of your investigation, an investigation that we already know the answer to because we saw the videos for ourselves, but if you're waiting for details to emerge from your little investigation that you claim that you're conducting, why are you stating things that you supposedly don't even know about yet as fact? Why? Why are you doing that? In all the years I have seen stuff like this happen in the news and investigations being conducted, I have never seen a situation where law enforcement makes a statement as fact and says, this is what happened, and then when pressed on the issue, oh, we'll confirm that later with the investigation. No, it's like, we don't know the details yet. We'll get them to you when we find them. And then when they know the details through their investigation, then they say what happened. Even in situations where the public saw it for their own eyes and they saw it for themselves and came to their conclusion that, yeah, this is what happened, they still conduct the investigation to verify the claims that are being made. And it's like, yeah, you know what? This is what we found. Here's what we're showing you. It's never the other way around of, we're going to make a statement of this is what happened, and then we'll fact check ourselves later. That's not how this shit works. You wonder why people are mocking you and saying ICE and DHS are not law enforcement because you don't behave like law enforcement.
That put law enforcement in danger.
Dana, we heard the law enforcement officer say gun, gun, gun. So at some point, they knew there was a gun. So again, that is going to be part.
But it doesn't matter if they know a gun's present. Is he brandishing that gun in a threatening manner, or threatening to even verbally threatening to use the gun against them? Is he doing that? Because we have no video evidence that suggests that any of that happened. None. Him simply owning a firearm in the United States of America, where we have a legal constitutional right to bear arms, does not make it open season for your guys to kill him. And I think it's ridiculous that you would claim that it is.
Part of that.
Oh, well, he had a gun, so it was right to kill him. No. No, it's not.
Investigation as to what was happening on the ground there between those victims, the Border Patrol agent victims, and the suspect.
I think it's so disgusting that he, on a nationally televised show, has the balls to refer to people who just murdered a man in cold blood as victims. Oh my God. Oh my God.
The police chief in Minneapolis.
It's almost like unqualified people are in these positions and never went through media training, thinking everyone will forget a lie or forgive a verbal slip up. These are supposed to be the best people for the job. Yeah. He's a disgrace to the USA. I mean, let's be honest. Right now, the entire USA is a disgrace to fucking begin with. I mean, let's just be fucking real for a second. It is an embarrassment to be a citizen of this country right now.
Minneapolis, O'Hara, and Governor Walz say Pretti was legally licensed to carry a concealed weapon. So are you saying it's not okay for him to exercise his Second Amendment right, not to mention his...
Right, that's the crazy thing. This is the country where we celebrate that we have the right to bear arms, and these people are justifying murdering someone for exercising that right. Make it make sense. Make it make fucking sense.
His First Amendment right.
That's because it's not the best. They don't vet anyone. If ICE gets an application, they accept it without hesitation. Yeah, most likely.
To be there in the first place, but his Second Amendment right to carry a gun. And if you do, you can be shot by federal law enforcement.
No, I didn't say that, Dana. I never said that.
I mean, that's essentially what you're saying. You're not like verbatim saying that, but when you're making the argument that because he had a gun, they had a right to shoot him, they were in the right to shoot him, that's essentially what you're saying. He had a gun, therefore they were in the right to kill him.
What I'm saying is we respect that Second Amendment right, but those rights don't count when you riot and assault, delay, obstruct, and impede law enforcement.
The conversation is just going in circles because he keeps saying things that happened that didn't happen, and then she pushes him on it, and he refuses to like answer.
Officers, and most especially when you
It's only okay to have a gun if you're on their side, like Kyle Rittenhouse. Yeah, that was an example I gave earlier, because they're talking about how, you know, this guy was clearly had some kind of malicious intentions because he showed up to a riot. I say it in air quotes because it wasn't a riot. It was a peaceful protest. He showed up to a riot with a loaded gun. Never mind the fact that he never brandished it. It was holstered. He never even gestured towards it. But Kyle Rittenhouse can show up to a protest with a loaded gun, be actively brandishing it, actually firing the weapon, and he's regarded as a hero by these people. But Alex Pretti, he exercises his right to bear arms at a protest, never reaches for the gun, never brandishes the gun, never fires a single shot or even threatens to do so, and he's a terrorist. He's a terrorist.
when you mean to do that beforehand.
How do you know that?
When you mean to do that beforehand, when you show up to an active crime scene, don't leave the crime scene, and you're armed, then you know, you've got the decision-making process for that individual doesn't seem to be very good. Now, back to the Second Amendment.
So again, he's justifying killing them. He's justifying killing them just because they exercise their right to bear arms. Unfucking believable.
What you're saying about the Second Amendment is peacefully protesting with firearms. Absolutely, I've done that myself. And
wait. No. He's not about to say what I think he's about to say. He's about to say that it's okay to peacefully protest while having a firearm in your possession. But for some reason, with Alex Pretti, it's not okay, though.
Back to the Second Amendment. What you're saying about the Second Amendment is peacefully protesting with firearms. Absolutely, I've done that myself, and fully support that. But not when you perpetrate violence, obstruct, delay.
Oh my God! Am I fucking insane? Did I just hear him say what he just said? It's okay to go to a protest and peacefully protest while having a firearm in your possession, but for some reason, Alex Pretti does it and it's not okay? What?
Delay or obfuscate Border Patrol in the performance of their duties in an
There's
active
no
crime
evidence that
scene.
he was perpetrating violence.
None.
And there's no evidence,
None.
unless you have it, and we'd love to see it if there is, that he was intending to massacre law enforcement, other than the fact that he was there.
Like, at this point, they're lying so fucking much that it would not surprise me if they tried to, like, present some fabricated bullshit, like, manifesto of this guy, like, oh, we found this in his home and he was, you know, clearly planning, this is his manifesto, and he was clearly planning to engage in a mass shooting event against, you know, DHS officials. Like, it would not, with how much they are just blatantly lying, it would not surprise me if they planted some bullshit evidence in this guy's home or something like that. Oh my God. I'm not saying that, you know, that's gonna happen. I'm not saying that I hope that that happens, but if it did happen, it would not surprise me at this point. Would it surprise anyone at this point? Isn't a protest an obstruction by definition, right? They don't even ask who the woman in the pink jacket is and try to get her footage.
And he had a gun lawfully.
He meant to be there beforehand. Again, Dana, he came there beforehand.
How do you
for
know that?
a reason.
Which, by the way, earlier in the stream, we read a statement, an affidavit that was filled out by that woman in the pink jacket. Like, she's terrified. She has turned over the evidence that she had to local law enforcement, and she's filled out an affidavit with her statement, but she's afraid to even return to her home. Because we all heard it, that they were, like, gathering witnesses and detaining them who witnessed this event take place. She somehow slipped away, and she's afraid to return to her own home because she's like, what are these agents going to do to me if they find me? Like, what's going to happen to me if they find me? Like, this is the world we live in, where a woman is afraid to return to her own home because she just happened to capture on video something that she views as an injustice taking place. what world do we live in where that's acceptable?
How do you know that?
Because he was there.
But all he
Because
was doing
there.
was
It's
filming and
very
documenting
evident.
it, which is legal. He was carrying a gun, which in Minneapolis
I didn't
is
say
legal.
it wasn't. And I didn't say it was.
Literally there's multiple camera angles of this incident that have come out, and every single camera angle contradicts the statements that they're trying to push. It is so insane to me. It's bad enough watching them do a press conference and lie, or watching them post statements on social media and lie. That's bad enough. But like what we're seeing right here in front of us, like I know people have their opinions on CNN, and that's fine. There's plenty of things to criticize about CNN, but what we are watching right now is brilliant. We are watching a man lie to our faces while the footage that proves that he's lying is playing in the background. We can see it happen in real time. This is brilliant reporting by CNN. I understand that, like, a lot of people are critical of CNN, and like I said, rightfully so. Lots of things to criticize about CNN. But this reporting right here that we're watching, this is fucking brilliant. Holy shit. We're watching the lies happen in real time and be debunked before our very eyes in real time.
It wasn't legal.
So then what did he do that was illegal?
Assault federal law enforcement when he does that. That's an active law enforcement crime scene.
Where do you see in the video that he was
decided to enter into?
Where do you see in the video that he was assaulting law enforcement? Because from everything we have seen,
the raise of the eyebrows that he has right there, like he's shocked that she would ask that question. Why? Why is that so shocking to you? It's a valid question. You're saying something happened in a situation where there are multiple angles of video footage that show that that did not happen. Why are you so shocked that she would ask you that question when what you're clearly saying is wrong?
have seen, law enforcement was assaulting him when he was there trying to help another individual.
Dana, law enforcement doesn't assault anyone. Follow
Are you going to tell me that over many, many decades in this country, we haven't observed examples of law enforcement assaulting people? This has been something that's been a very public conversation since before I was even born. And you're going to tell me that law enforcement doesn't assault people? I grew up in some rough neighborhoods, and I've seen a lot of shit happen with law enforcement that should not happen. Law enforcement absolutely assaults people. I'm not one of those that's going to say that like every cop, that's on the streets is doing, police activity and is doing so maliciously, or, not trying to serve their community and stuff like that. I think that there are some good cops out there that do their best to do a good job. But to pretend like law enforcement has never ever assaulted anyone ever, that is bullshit. That is to make this statement on national television that law enforcement doesn't assault people. We've seen it countless times. Like, you have to go no further than just mentioning Rodney King. We all saw the Rodney King beating. We all know about it. Just that one example alone, and that's one of many. Law enforcement absolutely does assault people. It is insane that you would make a statement like that on national television. George Floyd. There's plenty. We can name many people over the course of the history of this country that have been assaulted by law enforcement. That is an insane statement to make, that law enforcement doesn't assault anyone.
directions of law enforcement. Follow directions of law enforcement in an active crime scene. It's very evident he didn't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. The entire civil rights movement. Plenty of people were assaulted during that.
Very evident that the other individuals didn't want to do that.
This guy is... Whoever hired this guy and like let him kind of roam free and do his own PR, you made a massive fucking mistake, because this guy is a PR fucking nightmare. Can you imagine this guy being in charge of PR at like some big corporation, and like they just had like some very controversial action happen within their company, and this person is expected to, speak to the press and, make them feel like everything's okay, and yeah, this bad thing happened, but we're doing everything we can to make it right, and ease people's minds. Can you imagine this guy working for, say, I don't know, Microsoft, right? And Microsoft has this like very serious flaw in their software that it's exposing people's data to hackers and stuff like that, and it's like a big deal to the point where it's like we're talking national news, like bad, right? And they have this guy speaking on their behalf to try and ease people's minds that they're doing everything they can to resolve this issue, and he just says so many things wrong that just make the situation worse. That's what this guy is, a PR nightmare on so many levels. A PR fucking nightmare.
And it's too bad the consequences had to be paid,
Yeah.
because he injected himself.
They keep saying that he injected himself. He was protesting, which he has a legal right in this country to do, and he was offering aid to a fellow protester. What do you mean when you say he injected himself into the situation? Your officers attacked him because he was trying to help someone else, help a woman who was just pushed to the ground by DHS officers.
Into that crime scene. I can't
What does it mean when you say he injected himself into the situation? What does that mean?
say that enough. He made the decision
wanna-
to go there. We didn't make the decision to talk to him. We didn't even know
We didn't make the decision to talk to him. And yet in the video, we see them actively making the decision to approach him in all the videos.
that individual was in
I wanna go back
existence
to-
until he came.
Look at it, look at it, look at it, look at it. Here he is, and they're making the active decision to approach him. Tippy, he's already said it's perfectly legal to protest and carry a firearm depending on which side you're on. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh my God. It doesn't make sense.
Into that crime
I want to
scene.
go back to video number 1, because you keep seeing the
He said he made a decision to approach us. We didn't make a decision to approach him, as we're watching video footage of them approaching him. I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh. This is a very sad situation, and it's not a laughing matter, but I can't help but laugh at, it's like I said, this reporting by CNN is fucking beautiful, because we're watching him say things, and on cue, perfect fucking timing, they play the video that contradicts exactly what he's saying in real time.
that he injected himself into the crime scene. He was a guy
Apparently, Good Samaritan is, yeah, if you're being a Good Samaritan, it's their right to assault you for doing so. Yeah, exactly.
on a street filming an operation. He was far away. He wasn't on the crime scene. And what I want you to see again is that law enforcement appears by the video we have to be approaching him and the person who is next to him, not the other way
She's debunking everything he's trying to claim. Yeah, exactly.
around. And so what I want to know is, what evidence do you have that he went after law enforcement?
Sure. The fact that he was standing in the middle of the road, there was interaction between him, the bystanders, and law enforcement.
Well, what else are they going to play footage of the incident he's claiming doesn't exist? Yeah.
And again, follow directions of law enforcement. He doesn't need to be in the middle of a crime scene. Dan, I don't think you would want to be in the middle of a crime scene, or you would want civilians in the middle of a crime scene injecting themselves into something that is none of their business at all.
Can you also
It's so crazy. It's like, pay no attention to the horrible atrocities that we are committing in your community. Just let us be. We already murdered a woman in your community, but pay no attention to us. Just let us do our job of terrorizing your community, and just leave us be. It'll all be fine. We promise. We promise it'll be fine. Holy shit.
just answer the question about the gun? Because, again, do you have any evidence that he was brandishing his weapon? Did he ever have his hand on the weapon?
Yeah, again, the officers on the ground, in that melee, we hear gun, gun, gun. So
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't answer the question. The question wasn't, did the officers identify that he had a gun? We know he had a gun. We know he had it in his possession. The question was, Did he brandish the gun? Did he do something to indicate that he intended to use said gun on your officers? We know the answer's no. But you won't answer that question because that would make you look really fucking bad.
That gun at some point became visible to
Thank you,
officers.
Strong.
But could it have been because they had him on the ground and maybe his shirt came up and they saw that it was on him? That
Pure
doesn't mean that he was.
speculation, and that
but
is
I mean, we know that's what happened. When they came in contact with him, they probably identified he had a weapon on him, and that's why they started screaming gun, which is why they chose to disarm him. And if, you know, even though I disagree with the actions of ICE and DHS up to this point, if it had just ended with them disarming him and then, like, he's, like, detained and, you know, obviously that sucks, but, you know, at least he'd still be alive, you know, and then he can, you know, do whatever he needs to do legally to defend himself in that regard. But that's not what happened here. You guys identified he had a weapon. You took the weapon away from him, so he was unarmed, and yet your agent still felt the need to open fire on him. That's the issue here.
That's why we have an investigation.
We'd be having a completely different discussion if it was just a case of, okay, you guys disarmed him and then, like, detained him. It's still a shitty situation, but at least he'd still be alive. The fact that Pam Bondi says ICE will leave once they get the voter registry means none of this was for deport. Exactly. They're literally, like, holding the state of Minnesota hostage over fucking voter data.
And Dana,
Fine,
that is what we are investigating. You're not going to know that now, and I'm not going to know that
I think an
now.
investigation is great, but the Homeland Security Secretary said he was brandishing a weapon. Do you have evidence that we haven't seen that he was brandishing a weapon?
Nope.
He brought a semi-automatic weapon to Iraq.
That doesn't answer the question. You yourself just said it's fine to go to a protest with a weapon. You said that. And now you're saying that that's all the evidence that you need to justify the killing of him?
Riot, assaulted federal officers, and at some point they saw that weapon. So I do believe the secretary is 100% spot on in what she said.
See?
So why won't you say it here then? Why won't you just say it then? If you believe that what Kristi Noem said was accurate about him brandishing a weapon, when Dana Bash is asking you, did he brandish the weapon? Why don't you just say yes? We know it's not true, but you're so confident in what she had to say, so why won't you say it too? Is it because you know it's bullshit? Oh, it really makes you think, right?
Seeing
Why
a
would
weapon.
you bring a weapon and assault a federal officer if you did not have intent to harm or delay or obstruct that federal officer with a weapon?
You keep saying that he assaulted a federal.
Did this guy get caught on camera giving the Hitler salute? That I didn't know about. That I was not aware of. By the way, Stephen J. Neptune Man, welcome, first-time chatter. It's always good to have a first-time chatter in the chat. That I did not know about. I would love to see that if you can get me that. I don't remember. I think I have links allowed in chat. I think. I'm not sure. But if you can guide me where I could see that, I would love to see that. As a matter of fact, as the video is playing, I'm gonna look that up because holy shit, that's a yikes.
Officer. But again, we have not seen evidence that that happened. It looked like he was on the defense. And again, he had a gun legally. It sort of feels like we're in the upside down where we have law enforcement and conservatives who are very pro Second Amendment saying the problem was that he had a gun legally.
No, the problem is, as I said several times now, is he injected himself. He put himself where he did not need to be. He put himself in and put law enforcement officers in jeopardy through his actions. These were his actions, not law enforcement officers' action. We had to react to an individual.
Okay, I found a video here that claims that happened. Let me watch it first off screen real quick. Just to see. Let me see here. Because I don't want to bring this on screen if it's not legit. Let's see. I don't know. It's kind of a long clip. Sorry, chat. I just want to make sure. I don't want to put something on stream that's misinformation if it's not like accurate. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look like it. I'm gonna keep. Oh, wait a minute. What? What was that? Uh, I mean, kind of just looks like he's like waving. I don't know. I'm not gonna substantiate that because I'm not 100% certain on that. From the angle I'm looking at, it looks like he might just be waving, but I don't know.
Individual that came there for a specific reason.
It's okay. You're already holding yourself to a higher standard than a Bovino. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm human, but I certainly do my best. By the way, what's up, Jazz Dog? How you doing? Hello, I'm here after getting my power back from an outage. Yikes, are you in one of those areas that's affected by the storm? I hope you're doing okay.
And again, what that reason is, we're going to find more out about that in the coming days. I'll be interested to see what his reason for being there while Border Patrol agents were arresting
Yeah, you're in New England? Ooh, stay safe out there, please. I love you, buddy.
a violent, criminal, illegal alien doing their lawful, ethical, and moral duties in Minneapolis. That's the question.
Well, but the question is also, why is an American citizen now dead for the second time who was...
What's it been? 2.5, 3 weeks since the last time someone was killed? You know, Renee Good? That was like 2.5, 3 weeks ago, right?
there to document.
I'm over in Boston. It's not fun outside. Yeah, I genuinely feel I have quite a few friends who are in that area that's impacted by the storms. I genuinely feel so like I couldn't begin to imagine what it's like living in those areas. I live in Southern California, and like when the weather's approaching like 50 degrees Fahrenheit, we start bitching about how cold it is. So like I can't begin to imagine how much of a fucking nightmare it is for you all right now. I feel for you all so much right now.
Document in this case, and clearly to be there as a bystander, which is his First Amendment right.
He wasn't there to clearly document it.
Like Dopamine earlier was in the chat, and Dopamine was sharing with me earlier today that they had a spin out in their truck because they spun out on some ice. They had to go to the laundromat and do their laundry, and thank God they're okay. But they lost control of their truck on some ice.
Don't socially engineer the topic, Dana. He was not there to document.
Appeared
he
to
came
be.
there for
That's
a reason.
fair. Appeared to be.
He obfuscated and delayed officers there on the scene.
I want to ask.
The right-wing pundits like Crowder and Shapiro need to get their story straight for their shows Monday morning. They all got to get their memos on what to say and how to spin it. It's so true. It's funny you say that. I saw somebody did like a satirical like video of what it's like to be a right-wing social media influencer, and like it was literally that. It's like that they would post an opinion and their followers would get mad at them, so they would delete it. That wasn't the right opinion, and then they would say something else, and hopefully I got it right this time. Like, yeah, they really do read from the same script, don't they?
Pretty evident to me.
I want to ask you about your agents. You said that this was a highly trained.
I mean, that's what you do though, like when you're a grifter. I mean, I think that some of these people genuinely believe this nonsense, but let's be honest. I would argue that at least, and keep in mind, I'm being generous here, at least 80% of these fucking people, they don't actually believe this shit. They're just grifters who are doing what they can do to make a quick buck.
Agent who had been serving on Border Patrol for 8 years. What was he trained for? Because these are your Border Patrol agents, and they're now in the interior of the country, in American cities. Was he trained in urban policing?
Yes, all of our Border Patrol agents are trained in all for all types of environments, including urban policing. This particular Border Patrol agent had 8 years with some specific skill sets there with both firearms and less lethal munitions. Also, let's take a look at the training and the environments that Border Patrol agents operate in. We operate.
Wasn't somebody in chat said that apparently these agents, like ICE agents, for example, are only trained for like 47 days or some shit? They get 47 days of training and that's it. And then they're put out on the streets to wreak havoc on our communities. to call that well trained is ridiculous to me.
In places like San Diego, California.
Like, I don't even think, like, police go to a police academy and get trained long enough, and they get trained far more than these fucking assholes. With time off, it isn't 47 days straight. Jeez.
Tucson, Arizona, New Orleans, all those have Border Patrol sectors. Detroit.
I'm sorry, I don't care what job you're doing. Like, 47 days of training for like this kind of job, it's just not enough. Even when you're working like a normie type of job, they might give you like a day or two of training, but like realistically speaking, a lot of the stuff you learn about your job, you learn while actually doing the job itself. It's why there's that whole probationary period at work, right? Part of that probationary period is learning how to do your job and executing your job well, right? So like, even though you might get a job as, I don't know, working a cash register in a grocery store, even though you might get 1 or 2 days of training, like actual training doing that, you're still getting on the job training to learn your job. And I'm sorry, but like 47 days is not enough days to learn to do almost any job like very well. Like, you're still very amateur hour, anything less than that. Like, maybe that's a crazy take from me, but I don't know. I feel like it takes a lot more than 47 days to learn your job and learn it well,
Detroit, Michigan.
And these guys are expected to do a very serious job. They're not working a cash register at a grocery store or something like that.
We've got Border Patrol sectors in Buffalo.
They also cut the sit-up requirement and reduce other physical requirements. People can barely walk a 15-minute mile. Jeez. Like, my fat ass should never be doing any form of law enforcement whatsoever. And I've seen some of these, DHS and ICE agents. They got a few chonkers out there. And I'm not body shaming, okay? Because like, that would be a shitty thing to do. But yeah, I mean, some of these people, they're pretty chonky for sure.
Buffalo. So this myth, and I saw this just last night on CNN, this myth that Border Patrol agents don't work in urban areas is just that. It's a myth. We're well adept at urban areas, conducting that Title VIII immigration enforcement wherever we go. It doesn't matter if it's a desert or an urban environment. We're very well adept at doing that.
Is the agent or agents, is it your understanding that more than one agent fired a weapon at Alex Pretti?
Have any of these agents involved in this situation been publicly identified yet? I know it took a while to identify, what was it, Jonathan Ross, I think his name was, the one who killed Renee Good. I know it took like at least like a couple days or something like that to identify that guy. Has any of these people been identified yet? Which, that's another thing for me. Like, they bitch and moan and complain about their agents being identified, but you guys want to be treated as law enforcement. And if a police officer is involved in a situation like this, they are identified to the public. People know who the officer is. Their badge number is accessible, and they know, like, hey, even if the actions they engaged in ultimately are deemed to be appropriate, the public knows who that person was and what happened, right? So this notion that like ICE officers and DHS officers don't need to be identified, like, I'm sorry, that's just bullshit. We absolutely, as the public, have every right to know who these people are.
Again, that's going to be part of the investigation. I'm not going to speculate on how many shots or who shot or that type of thing because I don't know.
Are the agents who were involved?
I saw his name, but I didn't send it in the Discord. Well, there's multiple people involved, so it wouldn't just be a single name. It's okay to post the name of the person. I just don't want any doxing information that would be like, his private address to his home or anything like that. That's something that I don't condone people doing. Don't do that. But I think it is appropriate, like public record, that the public should be aware of who this person is and, what they, the fact that they've been involved in this situation. But again, we're talking about multiple people here, so it's not just a single person. But yeah, there's a comedian in the UK named Jonathan Ross. I wonder how his week went. Jesus, that's crazy. What is this? This got hidden. Yeah, so it's okay to link stories that have his name in it. It's not okay to link the Wikipedia page that has a list of every ICE member. Got auto modded. Okay, yeah, we don't want to do that then. But yeah, I was just, and keep in mind, I'm not asking you guys to like necessarily like, post any information to me or whatever. I was just curious if any of these agents have been identified publicly yet.
Involved, still on the job?
What I think they should be. I absolutely think they should be. If one of my local police officers is involved in a shooting and he has to be legally identified to the public for being involved in said shooting, I think these guys should have to as well.
Yes, they're these Border Patrol agents are.
I saw the guy who shot him being identified when scrolling on the toilet. But again, it's multiple people. It's not just one person. But yeah.
Going to more than likely be on administrative duty.
I mean, in fairness, I get a lot of my news while on the toilet as well, so I can't blame Emmy.
But they
What does
will
that
remain
mean?
Border Patrol agents. Yes.
What does that mean? So they'll
Yes,
be off the streets for a bit?
Not in Minneapolis, they will, but only in Minneapolis. Here, they'll be at a different location.
Okay. And before I let you go, I just want to button up one point that you were making about what Alex Pretti was doing there. Do you accept that it is the law that an individual has a right to film what law enforcement is doing?
I believe that all citizens of the United States have those First and Fourth Amendment rights as long as they do so peacefully and don't delay, obstruct, or assault anyone in doing that. And
so he didn't do that. He didn't do any of that. So he was in his legal right to do what he was doing. That's the correct answer. The correct answer is yes. And the correct answer is that he should not have died because he was doing that.
And that's the issue here, because he was not peacefully doing anything.
All right.
He wasn't. Oh, fuck you, asshole.
And just for the record, and we've seen this video multiple times from multiple angles, there is no evidence that he was doing anything other than being peaceful until the altercation began. Again, I look forward to seeing the other evidence in the investigation that you have, because we do want to get to the bottom of this and do want to get all of the facts as they actually happened. Chief Bovino, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you being here and answering questions.
Thank you, Dana.
Yeah, that enraged me so much. I can't begin to explain how infuriating it is to watch this man lie through his fucking teeth while the videos that dispute what he's saying are playing on the fucking screen for all of us to see. Smell the family suing the government over this? They absolutely should. They should sue, and they should do whatever it takes for them to get, not just monetary, compensation for what's happened here, but also ensure that they get some kind of some criminal action takes place against these people. Because this is unacceptable on so many fucking levels. Absolutely unacceptable.